Now, what is a maintenance plan? It is a maintenance activity workflow. Now, when you put a plan around any asset, what you are trying to say is that you are outlining activities that you need to carry out on that asset. In form of, if it is repairs, you are outlining those activities. So maintenance plan it goes beyond just the activity, but you are outlining activities, you are identifying the resources, you are identifying the personnel to be used, you are also identifying the sequence, what will happen before the other. That's all about the workflow. A plan on how to carry out maintenance, yes. A process of carrying out scheduled services. You know, once you pick up an asset, maybe a generator, and now that generator, from the manual, you are to maintain or service the generator every 300 hours. It means it has frequency. And once there's frequency, you are talking about schedule. So for anything you are doing, for any maintenance activity you are carrying out, and you are giving frequency, say, oh, quarterly, or you do it monthly, then you must draw up a schedule for that particular asset. Now, develop tasks needed to maintain a facility. You must develop the tasks needed to maintain a facility. Life cycle view of planning. Now, for you to maintain any asset, for you to maintain any facility, you must know that facility. You can't just walk into any establishment and they say, okay, come and maintain this generator, and you just quickly you draw up a schedule and you start maintaining, and you tell them, oh, we're going to do this, I'm going to do that. No, that is wrong. You must know the facility or the asset you are maintaining. And to know that asset, you carry out what called the facility condition assessment or facility audits. This audit is to enable you identify the deficiencies in that facility. It will enable you to identify the faults in that facility. Because if you don't know the deficiency of those facilities and you want to manage the facility, you'll be doing it the absolute wrong way. So the first step to maintenance is to do a facility condition assessment. Then the next step is to, develop your asset register so that you know the kind of facilities you have. Remember that asset register, by now, you know every facilities manager that is in this course know what asset register is. From asset register, you know the age of that facility, you know the condition of that facility, you know the capacity of that facility, you know everything about the facility, and that will help you, manage the facility. Asset register is a very key input into the facility plan. Now, the next step is to maintenance is the tax required. You pick up a particular, let's say a generator now, and you said, oh, you want to change oil. You must be able to outline the step-by-step activities that will be done to, maintain, to change oil. Number one, you are going to open up the compartment of the oil to drain it. You're going to change the filter. You outline these things so that even if you pick up anybody, any maintenance person can just go there and do it. Now, the next step is to schedule your maintenance. Now, I said something that once there's a frequency in maintenance, once there's frequency, the next thing means that there's going to be a schedule to that maintenance. Once your manual of the generator say, oh, oil should be changed every 300 hours run, it means that you need to draw up a schedule, for every 3 hours. So That's what we call the maintenance schedule. You have your schedule, and that schedule will outline the maintenance activity. Then finally, the replacement plan. This is talking about the capital investment. So just like one of our students said, from this you'll be able to advise management on whether to change this facility, or whether to replace, whether to renew. So when you follow this life cycle planning, it leads you to one decision. Is either you replace or you continue to repair. As we go on, we'll see, some other elements that we use to decide, apart from the history of a facility. There are some other elements you use to decide the decision you need to take on a facility. Now, maintenance planning horizon. We have short-term maintenance planning, and we have the long-term maintenance planning. The short-term maintenance planning talks about the operation. It's operational, and it's something of 3 years. You look, and it's specific. It has a budget, cash flow, and it's operation. You use your operational excellence. Now, for a short-term maintenance, you are looking at, for example, a generator. You scope the service. You decide what the objective is. Then the tasks that you outline, the tasks you carry out on that particular generator, and you decide on the remedial action, the routine maintenance, this time scale. Now, it is very, very important when you are managing a facility, you must consider time. Sometimes FMs want to carry out maintenance of a generator, and they are not considering the time. You cannot afford to put people in the dark more than necessary. So when you are if a good maintenance plan must take into consideration the time of maintenance, and not just that, you also consider how long can you cope when you have reached the point you must carry out your maintenance. Now, how long can you delay that activity? Sometimes you schedule maintenance for the 1st of August, and maybe because of resources or because of personnel, you want to extend. You must be able to determine how long you can extend your maintenance before it becomes critical, before you begin to have problems. Now, the second form of maintenance is the long term. This basically happens when you are acquiring the assets. You are looking at this asset. Oh, this chiller is going to last for us 20 years. What are we going to do? You begin to plan how you are going to manage that chiller to fulfill its expected life cycle. So you begin to put in place, what do you need? You do your investment analysis. Of course, it's a capital expenditure. Now you look at the vision, the mission, the environment, the situation analysis, the profile of services, the goal and objectives of that particular asset, and the methodologies and strategy. You also consider what maintenance strategy should we consider for this long-term assets. A maintenance plan will include detailed description of each maintenance task. Like I said, you must be able to outline the maintenance tasks. You must be able to state step by step what you intend to do. You see some technicians, they go to service a particular, say AC, and they'll say, I know what to do, I know what to do, I know what to do. And by the time they finish servicing the AC, maybe the AC was just dropping water. By the time they finish servicing the AC, it won't be cooling. So you must be able to know step by step what you need to do. Then the frequency of performing each task. You must state the frequency. How many times? How long? When are we going to do it again? Then resource planning, which is very, very important. You must have your resource, the personnel resource, and the consumable if you have to change parts. Then equipment condition. Like I said, you cannot maintain an equipment you don't know. It will be an aberration, a big mistake, if you jump at maintaining an equipment that you don't know. You will fail. Because at the end of the day, it will be like all the resources you are putting into it. Let's take, for example, a generator that is 20, 30 years old. And because you are coming from a place where you service your generator after 6 months, or when you do the 300 run hours, and you come to, and you are given an asset that is 20 years old or 30 years old, you cannot deploy what you were doing elsewhere on this, to manage this. It won't work. Because a generator of 30 years old, you'll be thinking of shorter time of maintenance. If we were doing 300, you'll be thinking of doing it 150 or even 100 hours. So you must know the condition of the asset you are to maintain. Type of maintenance tax, the type of maintenance tax. You cannot, even if you have two assets that are the same, the two assets cannot be maintained the same way. Every asset, every facility have a specific way of being maintained. They are different, they are exclusive. So that's why you need to do the condition, the equipment condition, do the condition assessment. Then you can now know the right plan to put in place. Tax delivery time, very, very important. Time is very, very important in this business, because the people you are serving, the customers, they are time conscious. If you are in an organization where they are time conscious, they need the facility to be up and running for the core business of the organization to be, then you need to be very, very time conscious. Okay? Tools and equipment required. You must put the right tools and equipment required. Now, we see scenarios where you have a carpenter that is managing a facility, always going around with hammer, with just hammer, because that's the only thing he has, or a plumber that is just going around with wrench. You see, that kind of person will find it difficult when he meets a situation where the wrench or the hammer cannot do the work. Then it becomes a problem. So you must have the tools, they must be adequate, the right tools, and at the right quantity. Now, care of equipment and systems. So your equipment must be cared for, and the systems must be cared for. Now, what is the purpose of the maintenance plan? What is the purpose of maintenance plan? You can decide to do random maintenance. You can just decide to, today I will go around and service the AC. It won't work, because you will be unable to put down the right resources. So we need maintenance plan to guide us to do the work efficiently and effectively. Now, facilities functioning safely. With a good maintenance plan, facilities will be functioning safely, effectively, and efficiently. Now, what that is saying, it's not about doing the maintenance, but that you are maintaining, and the people using that facilities are not complaining. You are not turning off the light. You are not cutting power when people are still working on their system. You are not shutting down the lift when people are still in the office and they are working maybe on the 20th floor, and you are shutting down lift to do maintenance. In fact, you'll be fired. So maintenance planning will tell you when to carry out this activity. Even when it is an emergency, you must put a plan around it. Okay? Preservation of facility systems. Reduce maintenance cost. When you do a good maintenance planning, you reduce maintenance cost. Because when you schedule your maintenance very well, you see that you will not be doing double work. Sometimes when people don't schedule their maintenance well, you are running a facility that has like 5,000 ACs. You need real planning for you to be able to manage that facility. Otherwise, you end up maintaining or servicing a particular AC over and over again. Extend the useful life of an asset. When a proper maintenance plan extend the useful life of an asset. We said here the other day that maintenance is not aimed at extending the lifespan of an asset, but the useful life of an asset. If you don't maintain your asset very well, it will die before the useful life. Then optimum availability and reliability of facility system. You don't want somebody entering the lift and all of a sudden there's power cuts and the UPS cannot come up. That is a big problem. And if the person is claustrophobia, or what was it called, then there's going to be a very big problem. So the plan helps us to put in perspective the things we want to do and getting them right. Make informed decisions on system. Yes, this is what one of our students said when we started. It makes informed decision whether to repair, whether to replace, and whether to renew a particular component or asset. So with a good maintenance plan, you'll be able to take this decision. Of course, benefit of maintenance planning, easier to budget for future maintenance. If you have good maintenance plan, you'll be able to budget for future maintenance. It's easy. Now, cost savings. Now, some people like saying, oh, I've saved money for the company. You know, we're supposed to spend 10 million on this. We budgeted 10 million on this activity, but I've done this activity and we've saved 5 million. You are wrong. Cost savings happen during the planning stage. At the planning stage, you should be able to identify all your cost savings measure, because at the planning stage, you are telling management the actual cost of maintenance. If you come and maybe during the execution stage and you come and say, oh, I have saved money, then management will ask you questions. So you were padding these things, you were padding the cost. So as a good facilities manager, during your planning stage, all the cost-saving measure must be put in place, because you want to present an effective cost, an effective budget to management. Don't come and tell management that, oh, you wanted to spend 20 million on this maintenance. We are spending 15 million. Then you have not done your work very well. And you find it very hard to get fund. Now, better maintenance workflow. You have better sequencing. You have better from one stage to the other. You know what to do. Faster execution of planned maintenance actions. All the action of maintenance, you already scheduled them. You know when to do them. Today we will do this. So that's the benefit of maintenance planning. Decrease in equipment downtime. Reduction in major repairs on equipment. Reduction on major, when we do our maintenance, we reduce major repairs, because you tend to track down failure even before it happens. Especially when you are dealing with assets with moving parts, you are able to track down, you know, failures before it happens. And when you are, and of course, with moving parts, you know, when one part is bad, that failure is kind of, you know, affects other parts, and before you know it, you have a major breakdown. So, but with good planning, with good maintenance planning, you track down those faults even before they happen. Reduce premature replacement of parts. Yes. Increase life expectancy. Increase life expectancy of equipment. Yes. Regular equipment maintenance. With a maintenance plan, you see that you'll be able to maintain your equipment regularly. Avoidance of future larger problems in equipment. Ensure equipment warranties are maintained. This is very important. When you buy an equipment, especially capital intensive equipment, you need to follow the warranty conditions. If that condition is violated, you will lose your warranty. Now you need to follow what the manufacturer is saying you should do. That's why our maintenance should, be tied to what the manual is saying. Because when there is a problem, the supplier want to see how you are maintaining. You want to see your record of maintenance. You want to see what you are doing before they will be able to say, okay, this we will take responsible of this failure. Otherwise, they won't touch it. So we must ensure equipment warranties are maintained. Keep facility running effectively and efficiently. Helps in being abreast of small issues. We've said it before. Maintenance planning helps us to be abreast with small issues before they occur. You are already seeing them. All right. Guide to maintenance planning. Determine the scope of the maintenance program. Set timelines. Resource allocation. Now, it's just about everything we've been saying. Number one, you determine the scope of the maintenance, of the program, of the schedule, how far you want to go. And this is determined from, your facility condition assessment, from the manual of that asset. You'll be able to draw out the scope of your maintenance. Then you set timelines when this thing is supposed to be done. You set SLA for your maintenance. Then resource allocation. You put the right resources on ground, especially personnel. You need to get the right personnel on ground. The technicians can mess you up if you are not careful. Develop maintenance checklist. You have to develop a maintenance checklist, and this maintenance checklist is to check those essential parts. Because with checklists, you'll be able to know exactly what parts of that machine you want to touch, you want to work on. So you develop maintenance checklists, you create maintenance schedule. Like I said, once there's a frequency, then you are talking about schedule. Then you have your maintenance records. And this maintenance record is important because during audits, maybe your clients want to carry out a management facility inspection or management audit of your facility. No matter the grammar you speak, that you have been doing maintenance or servicing of the assets, and you don't have records to show, then you have a very, very tall mountain to climb. And for service provider, maybe you are a facility, your company is providing service, facilities management service to a company or to an estate or that. You need to show this maintenance record, otherwise you won't be paid. Now, the key consideration here, like I said before, the key consideration is our asset register and our inventory. Because asset register is the key input into our facilities plan. In planning for the facility maintenance, identify all assets. As a facility manager, by now, you should be able to identify all the assets in your facility. Identify the inventory. Be able to know those frequently used parts. When you identify, so that you can budget correctly for the frequently used parts, those high consumable parts. For example, your tap, frequently used items. Determine what will be included in the maintenance plan. You determine what will be included in the maintenance plan. Remember, you must outline a step-by-step activities that you must carry out during maintenance. So we look at the maintenance planning process. Okay, compile an asset register. We've talked so much about asset register. So once you are called a facility manager, the next thing you should be thinking of is asset register. The next thing you'll be thinking of is facility condition. So For asset register is something that by now everybody that is a facility manager should be able to develop and run with an asset register. You need to know and have a record of assets in order to choose a maintenance strategy. We said it before. And estimate maintenance budgets. Okay, what is the asset register? We know all this, so I won't go into it. We know what's asset register. Maintenance scope. A document that outlines maintenance activity, work to be performed under maintenance contract. If you have a maintenance contract, what are the work to be performed? What are the SLAs in that maintenance contract? Work broken down into specific tasks. Defines activity specific to a maintenance contract. It defines the activity, that's the scope. So when you pick up a contract, maybe you just got a job in a company and you are the facilities manager, or you are maybe a client, a facility management company to another company. The first thing you want to ask of is the maintenance contracts, the facility maintenance or facility management contracts, so that you will see exactly what you have to maintain. So define the activity specific to a maintenance contract, clearly define client's expectation, which is very, very important. You need to define client expectation. What is client expectation of this contract? What are the SLAs? What are my deliverables? Describe an activity showing deliverables and milestones. You must show your deliverables and the milestones. And if payment is supposed to be done with milestone, then you have to put all the necessary records, all the necessary documentation so that you can, be paid. Helps in smooth functioning of activity. When you have a good maintenance scope, you see that things and you follow, it will be moving smoothly. It avoids conflict in a contract. Yes, you need maintenance scope. Otherwise, there will be a kind of breakdown in communication in terms of the contract, the content of the contract scope. So when you have that maintenance scope, it defines the contracts, what you need to do, your deliverables, the milestones, the activities, and all that. Okay, the maintenance scope component include the objective of that maintenance, what you want to achieve, the deliverables, the work procedure, the maintenance schedule, the timeline, the cost, the service level agreement, SLA, the maintenance requirements. All right, I said something about the you conduct facility condition assessment. And I said that, for you to maintain an asset, the very first thing you need to do is to find out what the condition or the state of that asset. You cannot just jump into maintenance or drawing up a maintenance plan without having the condition of that asset known. So the process of carrying out analysis of an asset condition. And what are you basically doing? You are basically checking for faults, checking for deficiencies in that asset. When you outline that deficiency, you want to now check or calculate how much you will spend to upgrade that facility. That's what you begin to present to management. Oh, this facility you want me to maintain. This is the condition of the first facility. To get this facility up to speed, to get this facility to the best standard level, then we need to spend this much to get it. That way, you have helped yourself up front. Because if you enter into maintenance without answering this question, without solving, these parts, without checking the condition of that asset before you enter into maintaining it, you have problems. So the purpose of facility condition assessment: determine the present building deficiency, the building you want to maintain. You carry out facility condition assessment. I remember some time ago we were given a contract to maintain a particular facility. You know, the people that went to do the due diligence to assess the facility just went there, strolled, you know, stayed in hotel, enjoyed themselves, and came back and did do what they are supposed to do. Eventually, we got the contract, and you know what? When we got there, we had problems because these facilities are facilities like the buildings were like 40, 50 years old, and things were not working in the building. It was almost like we need to do a total capital intensive upgrade of the building. It was a mess. But what we've signed contracts, and what did the client told us, look, you said you will do it. When you came for a presentation, you said you can do it, so do it. If you cannot do it, then at the end of this contract, we are not renewing. It was a 1-year contract. So we failed in the area of the facility condition maintenance. In fact, we just had to manage ourselves, boxing ourselves, fighting with clients every day. Because you have a swimming pool that was completely dead. And you expect us, because you've given us the contract, to come and resuscitate the swimming pool. That is not our cost. Our own is to maintain, and not to come and spend so much in almost constructing a new swimming pool. So for whatever you are doing, make sure your facility condition assessment is correct. First thing you ask, what is the history of this facility? What is the history of this building? Then from that point, you'll be able to, take informed decision. Develop cost for remedial action. Immediately you finish your facility condition assessment, develop cost for the remedial action and present it to management. Make informed decision regarding potential hazards. Provide a benchmark of building present condition. Provide a benchmark of building present condition. From historical analysis or data available to you, you'll be able to say, okay, for a building of this condition, this is what is expected. This is what we can do. Plan projects for maintenance, repair, and renewal. Make informed decision on resources allocation. Improve on forecasting for facility renewal. Now, the facilities condition assessment helps us to know what we will spend for remedial action. Now, there is what we call the facility condition index. This facility condition index helps us to take decision whenever we want to renew, if we want to replace a facility. The facility condition index is the amount you are to spend as remedial action for a particular facility, all over the amount of total replacement of that facility. And anytime that amount, there's a level you get, as that amount is going, as that calculation, as that index is going up, it means that facility needs to be changed. The lower the index, the better that facility. The higher the index, it means you need to change that facility. So if you do your facility condition assessment very well, and you are able to determine the remedial actions and the cost for that remedial action, and you check that the cost for that remedial action against the cost of procuring a new asset, and if it is giving you something like 1, my dear, you need to change that facility. You won't even get to 1. If it's giving you 0. something, fine. You can say we can still work with that, because this is what you present to management. This is kind of analysis you present to management, that okay, our facility condition index this year has increased compared to last year. It means our facility is deteriorating very fast. So we'll be thinking of changing it. But if your facility condition index this year was less than that of last year, it means, you know, your maintenance is effective, and that facility can go another year. So this area of facility management is very, very important, and maybe when you are doing the financial, the budget aspect of this course, you get a better understanding of the facility condition index and the facility condition assessment. The FCA review previous maintenance record. You need to review, like I said, from your previous maintenance record, you should be able to say, okay, this is where we are right now. You can use that for budgeting. Provide useful information for maintenance planning. From your previous maintenance record, you provide useful information for maintenance planning. Provide information on previous maintenance action. Helps with budgeting for future maintenance activity. Yeah. So with good records, you'll be able to budget. You'll be able to say, okay, we spent 100 million on facilities maintenance this year. Let us see. Next year, we can do a 10% markup, maybe because of inflation and all that. But when you have good record, that's where you'll be able to take that kind of decision. Give history of equipment condition. Reveals future potential problems and costs. Indicates if equipment is overly maintained, under-maintained, or properly maintained. From your facilities record, you want to see if you are spending so much money on maintenance of the facility, because it's from your work order, from all the record that you maintain, from your consumable, the change, the parts you've used, the material. They want to see, oh, you are spending so much on this maintenance, or you are the facility is under-maintained, or it is properly maintained. So the FCA reviews previous maintenance record, and we can take this decision. Preventive maintenance plan development, how you develop preventive maintenance. You decide on the assets to be maintained. Every asset is maintained exclusively. You cannot maintain two assets the same way because their conditions are not the same. So first, you determine the condition of that asset before you begin to decide on the maintenance strategy to be used. Evaluate assets costs of repair and replacement. Determine frequency of performing maintenance. See, this is very important. You don't just jump to maintaining an asset. Sometimes some assets, what you just need to do is outright replacement. You replace outrightly. You've been servicing an AC. Almost every day you are repairing that AC. With good record, you'll be able to tell management that the mean time for failure of this asset is too short. So therefore, we need to replace. But you can only do that when you have the information, when you have the records. Level of priority for the asset. Yes, level of priority. You place priority on asset. There are some assets that are very, very critical. You don't joke with them. For example, the generator, the chiller, those assets are very critical. You don't joke with their maintenance. With the kind of power situation in our country, you know, some establishment, they are running on generator 24/7. And you don't want to tell them stories. Above all, your plan needs to be very solid. I said something in our last class when we were trying to install a gas-powered generator. We wanted to remove the diesel-powered generator. We didn't do our plan very well. And because of that, we put the occupant in darkness for over 5 days. The gas generator couldn't start. We have already moved the diesel generator. So your planning must be sound, and your backup must be as good as your original plan. Your plan B must be as good as your plan A when it comes to maintenance. Consult equipment manufacturer's manual. Do not do maintenance without using manual, without looking at the manual to know the right material to be used, the right equipment to use. I remember when I took my car for servicing, just to remove a bolt under where you have the oil compartment under the car, to remove the bolt so that they can drain the oil from under the car. The mechanic didn't have that tool, that particular tool, and was telling me stories. He's going to burn it, he's going to do something. I said, no, you can't do that. I had to tell him, let's go to the market, let me buy the tool for you. So sometimes we just need to, go through the manual, know what you are supposed to use, know the right material, know the right equipment, know the right schedule, know the frequency before you draw up your plan and before you start maintaining. Determine maintenance tasks from his manual, yes. Assign skill level and labor time for each task. Schedule the maintenance tasks. Schedule equipment downtime. Create weekly plans for maintenance tasks. For maintenance that have frequency, you create based on that frequency. Create a plan for reactive maintenance. Train maintenance personnel in maintenance procedure using work method statements. This is also very important. Oh, I am a technician, I know it all. But a new equipment is in the facility, then you need training to be able to do your work very well, to be able to maintain that asset the way it should be maintained. Put safety measure in place, availability of safety data sheets, job safety analysis, and permits to work. There are some maintenance activity that you want to carry out that you must have a permit to work. If you are working mainly like in the oil company and all that, you will see that they don't do their work without permits to work. No matter what you want to do, there's risk assessment for every activity because they don't want any room for accidents. You want to carry maintenance maybe around a transformer, you must have your permit to work. And in it, you will highlight all the activities you want to do. You will state the activities you want to do, and you will state the control you have put in place to carry out that activity. So it is very structured, and that's why you don't work there and you want to rush. There's no rushing about anything, and they will tell you if it is not safe, don't do it. Even if your manager wants you to do it, once you determine that it is not safe, do not do it. All right. Establish process of tracking maintenance activity. Develop a maintenance activity tracking system. When you are doing maintenance, ensure that you develop a maintenance tracking system, activity tracking system. That you can do with your schedule. When you draw up your schedule, you know when to do what, and you are tracking it. Scheduling labor, material, cost, too. You must be able to track all this. So at the end of the day, you'll be able to put clearly what you have done and be able to get paid for what you have done, especially if you're a facility management company managing facility for another company. An example of such system is computerized maintenance management system. This is a computerized maintenance management system. You know, this system is something that is a system that helps you to schedule and to track what you are doing. But above all, you as the facility manager will still be the one using this system. I said something the other day that in Shell, there's a particular computerized management system they are using. They call it Planner. For you to get that particular profile of that maintenance management system, you spend over $2,000 for a profile to be created for one staff. So But it's a very good tool because it checks from when a request is made, a request of a maintenance failure is made, to when it is, when that request is closed out, when it is assigned, and when the job is executed, and when the job is closed out. Everything is computerized, and you just be seeing everything going. You can track, you can follow up a work order and get to ascertain where that work order is. And you can use it to, schedule your maintenance activity. So it's a very, very powerful, a very, very good tool. And many companies are going into that, but it's just expensive. But I know that in no time, facility management will be more of this computerized maintenance. We won't be going about with logbook again, to do our work. So computerized records and reporting. Record the report, maintenance activity. This computerized records, it helps us to record the report of maintenance activities. Scheduling maintenance activities help to schedule maintenance activity. Manage maintenance work requests effectively and efficiently. Prioritize maintenance work. Managing resources. Benchmark set SLA and KPI. That is the service level agreement and the key performance indicator. Because this is one element that clients will use in measuring whether you are doing your work well. The SLA, the service level agreement, and the key performance indicators. So at the end of the day, you produce a scorecard, and in it you have all these things stated out, and they want to be rating you based on this. So this computerized maintenance management system helps to capture all this. Track work status. Like I said, you'll be able to say where a particular job is, what extent. Analyze recorded maintenance data, produce maintenance reports, controlling of maintenance costs, generate management reports and historical data. Analyze recorded maintenance data. Like you are managing a facility of, say, 1,000 bungalow, and you are the facilities manager. You know that you are doing civil work there, you are doing electrical work there, you are doing you are doing other services. You should be able to categorize, your request by trade. Is it plumbing activity? Is it electrical activity? Is it civil activity? Whatever it is, this maintenance management system will be able to categorize it, so that at the end of the day, you'll be able to analyze your work. You can say, oh, this month we had like 1,000 requests coming from the plumbing trade or dimension or category, and we have 500 coming from electrical. And you'll be able to analyze it with graphs and everything. And you'll be able to see how much from the budget you spent on plumbing. And you'll be able to tell yourself, okay, can we slow down on plumbing work? Whenever we get plumbing work, let us, if it is more than 5,000 naira, we will push it for approval or fund, or we will keep it, or we'll do it, something like that. So this maintenance management system helps you to analyze your record, analyze your maintenance data. Maintenance checklist, like we said, is a very important tool. Maintenance checklist help us to, so that this checklist help us to know the area of maintenance we must focus on. It enables facility management maximize efficiency, so that you don't waste time on a particular activity. There's some activity in the maintenance plan that, even if whether you do it or not, it doesn't have a significant effect on the activity. For example, cleaning of the body of your generator. Whether you clean it or not, it will stop the generator from running. So you don't spend time on, less important activity, and get all maintenance tasks done. It helps you to get all maintenance tasks done. When you follow the checklist, it helps you to get maintenance tasks done. I see a lot of facilities managers going for inspection without their checklist. You want to inspect a preoccupied apartment, and you are going there without a checklist because you felt, oh, you are a professional, you know everywhere you will check. You will go in there and you come out and you discover that some key or critical aspect of that building you didn't check. So it's important to use our checklist. It enables us to see everywhere as much as we can. Use to inspect facility in a logical sequence, like I said, from one step to the other. Provide detailed list of facility different parts. Is a facility manager during management by walk-around. You see, management by walk-around for a facility manager is important. In fact, inspection for a facility manager is one of the most important items in his JD. Inspection, you must walk around. You must walk around. In fact, facilities management is about inspection, it's about walking around. You know, so the best practice is that, oh, you spend 50% time to walk around, then the other 50% you can just come to put your reports together. So walking around is very important. It indicates the frequency of maintenance activities. Good. The items on a maintenance checklist will vary depending on the maintenance strategy being adopted. A preventive maintenance checklist will vary from a predictive maintenance checklist. Yes. The reason being that the former involves taking equipment out of service for maintenance so that a larger problem does not occur in the future. The latter involves the monitoring of equipment to determine when maintenance will be necessary. So, the strategy deployed, for example, the predictive maintenance is monitoring. You are monitoring the equipment closely, and so that you determine when maintenance is necessary. A good way of maintaining the facility. Why this other one is, you know, preventive method, you check, you continue to put a plan around it to ensure that whether the asset is failing or not, but because you have a schedule around it, you just follow the schedule. For predictive maintenance, you monitor the maintenance using all the facility, the equipment or device you have to monitor the facility until you feel okay. From the data we have gathered, we can see here that this facility might fail in the next 2 weeks. So we should be prepared for maintenance. We should carry the maintenance today or tomorrow. So that's just the difference. All right. The next module here is monitoring and evaluation. I'd like us to just take 5 minutes break. Let us just go through what we have learned. And when we come back, we'll take a few questions and then we go into the training. So let's 5 minutes break. When we come back, we'll take a few questions and then we'll go back into the training. Okay, so before we go into the next session, I believe we'll have 1 or 2 things to share. Does anybody have any question, you know, of what you have been saying in the past 1 hour? Any question? So that we can quickly move on. Hello, can you hear me? All right, so we proceed. I want to believe you can hear me.
Yes.
All right.
We can.
So
Yes,
let's
we
proceed.
can.
Yes, sir, we can hear you.
All right, great. All right. Monitoring and evaluation. Now, plant maintenance. One very important thing that we do when you are carrying out maintenance is monitoring and evaluation. And when you talk about monitoring, you are talking about generating data. You are talking about inspecting, you are talking about checking and generating data. And that data, the data you generated is for making decision. And after generating data, you want to analyze that data. And now you talk about evaluation. So at the end of the day, you want to see if that plan is effective. So in your maintenance planning, you should always indicate or put in place a monitoring tool, an evaluation tool. So at the end of the day, you'll be able to generate data to say whether that plan is effective or you've just wasted time. So monitoring is very important, when it comes to maintaining assets. A tool that ensures maintenance are executed as planned. So when you put a monitoring tool in place, it helps you to ensure that maintenance is executed as planned, used to assess maintenance actions effectively. So it's a tool used to assess maintenance actions effectively. Monitoring involves providing feedback on maintenance activities progress. You want to see feedback from what you are doing. You want to generate data from what you are doing. Oh, we did this maintenance activity. What is the performance of the engine? What is the reading on our panel? You begin to pull out that kind of data so that you'll be able to make decisions in future. Identifying maintenance problem. During monitoring, you will be able to identify maintenance problems. Of course, when you carry out a scheduled inspection or focused inspection on your assets, you'll be able to identify maintenance problems that you implement a corrective action on the identified problems. Evaluation involves addressing maintenance plan strength and weakness. Like I said, when you deploy a plan and you need to monitor that plan so that at the end of the day, you want to say if this plan is effective, is it strong? You check the strength and the weaknesses of that plan. Addressing the identified maintenance problem. During evaluation, you can address the identified maintenance problem, addressing the effectiveness of maintenance activities. The activities you are applying, are they effective? Are you wasting time? Like I said before, there are some activity during maintenance that you are not supposed to do, but because because you didn't plan your activities very well, you put it there, and it's a waste of time, waste of man hours, and sometimes waste of resources. Reviewing maintenance record. All your record during evaluation, they want to review it. What is the output? You check your inputs, and you want to also check your outputs. Does it correspond? Are you getting the kind of results that you are getting? Setting up methods of corrective actions. Setting up method of corrective action. You must understand that corrective actions or corrective action is not correction. Corrective action is being implemented so that a fault may not happen again. There are some kind of fault that is not due to moving parts, that is not due to wear or tear. They can be mainly human errors. And most of the maintenance issue we have at sites are mainly human errors. So when you implement corrective actions, you are trying to say that this issue or this problem will not happen again. Monitoring and evaluation. Okay, I've said so much about monitoring and evaluation. So the process of monitoring and evaluation involves stakeholder identification. You must identify your stakeholders. Selection of evaluation questions. What kind of question you want to ask? You must select it. You are maintaining the facility. One, you must identify the stakeholders, your client rep, you know, your technicians, everybody that has something to do with that maintenance. Then selection of evaluation question. What kind of question will you be asking during evaluation? Because if you ask the right questions, you get the right answers. Allocation of resources. What are the resources you want to put in place? Then timeline for the monitoring and evaluation activities. You must put timeline. You don't carry out monitoring forever. You don't carry out evaluation forever, because you put a timeline, put a schedule, put an interval to your monitoring, so you'll be able to evaluate and analyze and give a result, and informed decision can be taken with your results. Establish the scope. You must establish the scope of your monitoring, which involves clarifying what should be monitored and evaluated. You must clarify what should be monitored and evaluated. Set up monitoring and evaluation plan. What forms the plan? Establish method for data collection and analysis. Establish method for data collection and analysis. You're carrying out inspection. There are things you are looking out for from that inspection. Then from that data, you'll be able to carry, where to do an evaluation of that data. Stakeholder involvement. Carry along your stakeholders. I like doing inspection with management. I'm managing a facility for a client. I have a schedule of what I call the monthly management facility inspection, because let them go with you and see it for themselves. It's easier for you to push, some budgets to them if they can see it for themselves, So involve them in this evaluation. Develop communication process. One key thing in facilities management is communication. You must be able to communicate, establish what will be communicated, set your reporting lines. Okay, maintenance record. We've talked about maintenance record. Talked about work order capturing and tracking, equipment history, files, verifying facility inventory, annual PM schedule. These are records. If an auditor comes to your facility and you say you are maintaining this facility, the first thing the auditor wants to see is your PM schedule. That's the first thing the auditor wants to see. Where is your PM schedule? Because on your PM schedule, you must have identified the assets. You also identify the activities that will be carried out. You also identify the frequency, and then you have your schedule. So it is very important. That is a record that must be maintained. In record keeping in quality management system, we have retained record, we have the maintained documentation, retained documentation, and the maintained documentation. The retained documentations are records that you must keep. Those records, you won't throw them away. While the retained and maintained documentation are like this schedule, you must keep them, but every day you are updating that record. Every day you are updating that document. Every day you are updating it. But for a record, the retained one, don't update. It's just like certificate of for your activity. You get a certificate for that activity. That kind of certificate cannot be changed. For example, a DPR will give you a certificate. That is a record. You can't change it, you can't update it. It remains a record. But if you have a schedule or any other document that every day you are going there to input data, that is just a document that you must maintain. So the very first thing an auditor wants to see is your annual PM schedule. Then they also want to see the work order capturing. You said you've done this maintenance. What's the work order to carry out this job? Because that's where you will identify what you want to do, when you want to do it, and if you have done it, the sign off and all that. They also want to see your equipment history file, and they want to verify your facility inventory. In your facility inventory, you must have all the spares that you need for preventive maintenance. Maintenance records are written notes that provide documentation about the upkeep of a certain piece of equipment. So, every equipment, you must have a maintenance note for it. Record of all the things you've been doing on that particular facility. Why? Because this is what you will use during your planning, your subsequent planning. This is what you can use during your budgeting. This is what you can present as objective evidence that you are carrying out maintenance. This is what you can use in making sure that you don't lose your warranty. So it is very important that we keep records. We are stressing this because it's something that when you go to sites today and you ask for certain records, oh, show me the record of your generator maintenance. It's crappy, there's nothing in it. Show me a record of your inspection. Nothing. We don't do that. We don't carry out those inspections. We don't record them. And then they become difficult to prove to our client that we actually did the job. Records are particularly useful in maintenance management because it ensures equipment are kept in good condition, offer a way to manage and track repair and preventive upkeep expenses. It's all about money. Record management. The professional practice of managing the record of an organization throughout their life cycle, from the time they are created to their eventual disposal. You need record for an asset from the time that asset is being acquired and to the eventual disposal of that asset. This will enable management, to take decision on capital and investment. When we don't have this kind of record on ground, it becomes a problem. Identifying, classifying, storing, securing, retrieving, tracking, destroying, or permanently preserving records. Now, there are some records that you cannot destroy. They are forever. You need to keep them forever. For example, your birth certificate, you cannot destroy that. So the same way, for some assets, you cannot destroy the assets. For some establishment, they have a record retention time. Some can be 15 years, some can be 20 years, some can be 30 years. But records are, documents that you really need to keep for decision making, especially for capital investment. Purpose of maintenance record, why they are kept. We've talked about that. Purpose of maintenance record, we've talked about that. Keeping machinery in good working order is one of the best ways to protect it as an investment. And documenting that care can make the equipment more desirable if it's ever sold, since there's proof that it was properly serviced. Sometimes you want to dispose or sell out a particular asset before people will invest in that asset. They want to see your maintenance record. It is from that maintenance record that will give those people some level of confidence that they are not buying an already dead asset. So keeping record is very important. and it's a business strategy, even for the organization, whenever fund is needed. All right. Benefit of performing maintenance and keeping record. We've talked about that. Preventing expensive repairs. If you don't have record of repairs, it's possible that somebody will come and tell you, oh, this thing can be fixed at so amounts, because you don't have previous record of how it was done. Because there are certain repairs or certain preventive measure that there is no cost attached to it. It's what the vendor tells you. That's what you likely take. It's whatever the vendor tells you, you now begin to bargain. Can you do it like this? There's no universal agreed cost. But if you have a record of such maintenance activity or repairs, you'll be able to say, no, oh, so time we did it at this cost. So this is what we will pay you. Establish individualized maintenance program. Increase ease of warranty claim. I've been saying this. When you don't have proper record, you can't claim warranty. So if you have records on ground, then it's easy for you to claim warranty. The story won't be too much. Increase safety for operators. With good maintenance record on ground, operators will be able to read and understand. Sometimes, and most time, it is not about the PPE that you are using. We call it administrative control. We need administrative control to reduce incident and accidents in the workplace. PPE is what we call the last resort. What you go is the last thing you go to. But when you have engineering control, you have administrative control, you have before you'll be talking about PPE. So your maintenance record serve as an administrative control, especially for operators that are operating equipment, because they will have first-hand, like what happened before to operate that machine. So we really need to have such record, especially when we are dealing with, safety critical equipment. Increase longevity through accountability. You increase longevity through accountability, identifying trends across makes, models, or components. From your maintenance record, you can say LG, oh, is better than Panasonic. You can say LG, you'll be able to decide from your record of maintenance. Now, better understanding of your assets. From your records, you're able to understand the assets. Number one, you'll be sure that you know the mean time between failures. You're able to establish mean time between failures, and you're able to use that to maintain your asset properly. The record should be documented. What type of work was carried out? That the record must be document that contain what type of work was carried out, when it was performed, who performed the maintenance activity. In the oil rig, in the rig, most of the maintenance people there, you don't just go there to do a job. When you are doing a job, that job is tied to they have a kind of an identification number. That job is tied to your identification number. If you have to weld a vessel, as you are welding the vessel, you are putting your code, on what you are doing. So that if there's an issue, that welding, that part that was welding can be traced to the very person that did the work. You can imagine a very huge vessel at sea, and you have like 50 welders working on it. If there's an issue at any point, it will be traced to that particular person that did the job. So the same way, as you are carrying out maintenance, and that's why you need the work order, the particular technician that did that job must be identified, who performed the maintenance activity. When an inspection or equipment testing takes place, The record should reflect whether the inspection or testing followed manufacturer guidelines and company operating procedure. So, when you look at maintenance, because you are in facilities management, you think, oh, it's just something you just do anyhow. But by the time you go through this course, you see that there's a whole lot of, a whole lot of energy being pushed into it, and it's very structured. And the only way you can get management attention is your ability to follow this structured way and be able to report on that line. It might be tedious, but you should be able to tell management, oh, this is how we are doing this. We are monitoring. These are the results we are getting. This is the result of our evaluation and all that. This is the record. And when you present your work that way, it shows some level of professionality. Maintenance record procedure. Make an inventory of all equipment. Include any item that needs to be periodically inspected or repaired. Assign a tracking number for each item. Decide on keeping records manually or automatically. Yes, like I said before, we are getting to the point whereby we will not be doing manual things as facilities managers. We won't be doing manual things. Coming to a point whereby we have everything documented automatically, so that when you want to call up any information, it's easy. Information is easily retrievable. Keep a backup copy, whether manually or automatically. It's very important. Have a backup copy of your records. Update record whenever work is performed. Update your record whenever work is performed. Like I said, there are some documents that are maintained. Those documents are updated, as the work is done. While there are some documents that are retained, those are documents that you cannot update. It's like a certificate. It has been issued and nothing can be done about it. If you alter anything, it becomes invalid. Okay, record keeping guideline, filing system. A good filing system permits easy, economical, and efficient organization, maintenance, and protection of documents. Very important thing about document that you must know. One, your document must be retrievable, as in whenever you need that document, whenever you need that record, you must file it or store it in such a way that you can get it. You see that people document things, and when they are asked to produce that document, they can sit on their system or their file rack the whole of the day looking for a particular document. That's not good documentation. Reflect the functions of the office it serves. Then you need a way of documentation. That is, naming of documents is very important. If you've done quality management system, one very key important aspect of this is documentation. You have a way of naming documents so that anybody that picks that document will know where that document is generating from. We know the department that document is coming from. We even know the personnel that is handling or created that document. The same way, documents during maintenance should be named in such a way that one can easily trace the document. All documents on a file should bear the file reference number. File titles should clearly identify document content. You open a file in your system. The file title, the name of that file should clearly indicate the contents of that document. So all this we are talking about here is documentation. For what? For our maintenance plan. Why? Because it's from this documentation we'll be able to, assess what we have done, take informed decision based on the data we have generated and evaluated, and now can decide on what to do about a particular asset or facility. All right. Okay. We've talked about retaining records. I said there are records that can be retained, and it depends on the number of years you want to keep that record. Some records can stay forever, and while some can be 30 years, 40 years. You don't just destroy records, because those are information you can fall back to for reference. The records retention schedule. Name the content and purpose of each record. Prescribe the necessary retention period. You need to prescribe the necessary retention period of record. But most importantly, before you destroy a record, it means that probably you have disposed that facility. A record for a particular facility must stay throughout the facility's useful lifetime. So you don't just throw it away. If the facility is to be used for 30 years, you must maintain records for that 30 years before it is destroyed. The retention period will range from immediate destruction or destruction after a period of time to permanent retention. Some can be destroyed immediately you finish using that asset. Some can be destroyed maybe after some years after disposing of the asset, while some can be destroyed, can be kept permanently. You don't destroy such. You also specify the length of time that records must be maintained. Work order capturing and tracking. Now, it is important during maintenance, I said it when we started, that work order is one tool that we use to track maintenance. It's one tool that will tell you what you need to do. Sometimes we make that mistake of not issuing work order when we are carrying preventive maintenance before we feel, oh, the technician, they know what to do. We already have a schedule. You have to service 30 AC today. Just go and service it and, go away and just, but no way. You need to issue a work order, for such an activity. What is work management? It involves creating, qualifying, dispatching, and executing requests for off-site work called work orders. The steps and functions of the work order lifecycle work together to ensure that site issues are resolved in the most efficient manner possible. All right. Creating a work order. This involves gathering the initial information about the work. This involves gathering the initial information about the work that needs to be done. The initiator of the work order determines the nature of the problem, provides all necessary information needed for the work order task, identify materials and labor required for the work order, create the tasks necessary to complete the work order, assign the work order to the service provider, also to the technician, then follow up with work assignment till completion. And for me, it doesn't end here. By the time you create the work order, you write everything you want to put inside the work that is to be done, you assign it to your technician, you follow up till the job is completed. One other area that to complete this cycle is to ensure that the occupant or the customer acknowledge completion of work. But sometimes we just do the work and we don't get to that, that part of the closure of the work order. Approving work order. Approving work orders. Now, it's not only to create work order need to be approved. Approving a work order means that it has been reviewed and is ready to be qualified for task creation and assignment. Okay, all this are about the work order. Define the schedule of activities, sequence the activity, estimate the resources needed for the activity, estimating the duration of each of the activities, schedule development, monitoring and controlling the schedule. Assigning personnel, which is very, very important. Tracking labor resources and assigning job to personnel. Keeping a record for all maintenance personnel, their craft or trade category. This is all part of the personnel planning, personnel involvement in maintenance planning. Recording and tracking material. This involves tracking items being moved in or out of inventory or from one location to another. This helps us to track, the work you are doing. This helps us, is part of what you consider when you are deploying a particular maintenance plan. You need to put in place the tracking item that will help you to check how inventories are being moved, tracking of stock and non-stock. When you have inventory, you also want to determine your buffer level of your inventory, the level at which you need a restocking. You don't want to continue to carry out maintenance only for you to find out that you don't have the consumable to carry out the maintenance. Tracking location of items, items cost, information, and the substitute or alternative items. Recording stroke tracking tools. This involves tracking the use of movement of tools. Now, as a facility manager, you must be able to track the movement of tools. Otherwise, you wake up one day and you see that your toolbox is empty. Tracking the condition of tools for repairs or replacement. So, maintenance planning goes beyond just writing a schedule. You must know that you must check that you have the right tools. You must also check that the tools are in good condition, so that it is not when you want to carry out the maintenance you are seeing all these things. Remember, our goal of carrying out maintenance is to reduce the maintenance time. We want to reduce downtime. And when you get to a technician gets to where he's supposed to carry maintenance, just to realize that, oh, the tool he's using is not the right tool, you are increasing maintenance time, and that's not good for business. Tools tracking allows work planners to see what tools. Tool tracking allows work planners to see what tools are in stock and assign tools to various work categories to reduce research effort by mechanics and technicians working in the field. Recording cost, expenses related to labor. So even in your maintenance plan, you must capture expenses relating to labor and parts. You must document them. All right, we'll just take 2 minutes, and when we come back, we take this last module and we close, and we'll take some questions and we close for the day. So, in verifying facility inventory, I said when we started that inventory are the consumables we used to maintain a facility or to maintain an asset. You know, when you, as a facilities manager, you are drawing up your plan, it is not only to do the write-up, oh, you list out the activities, you must also consider the inventory, the consumable that you need to manage a facility. Like I said, for a facility like generator that has a lot of moving parts, you know that you have to be changing parts like often. So you must identify those parts, identify those items, and build up an inventory for them. And as in you have a buffer level and that is a restocking level for your consumable. So inventory are the consumable we use to maintain an asset. That's a simple way of putting it. Verifying facility inventory. Set standards for facility inventory. You know, like for the CMMS, for companies that are using this CMMS, is very easy for them to put their inventory together, because as you are using it, as it's getting out of the store, as you are requesting for your inventory, you are recording it, the computer is capturing it, and when it needs a restocking, there will be a kind of prompt. But when you are doing it manually, a facility must pay attention to this. You must set a buffer level for all your inventory, for all your consumable, for all your parts. You put a buffer level, a time where you need to restock. You know, sometimes it is when you deplete your stock, that's when you now tell management, oh, we don't have this particular item in the store. You have just shot yourself on the foot, because management may not act. Like we said in the other class, you must understand organizational process before you start managing a facility. There are some process that you must go through in some organization, approval process that can take very long and frustrating. So you must keep tab of your consumable, you must keep tab of your inventory, especially when you are not using the computerized management system. Find a way of controlling the use and ability to a tracking system that will tell you when to do a restocking. Document inventory usage is of utmost importance. It is very, very important that you document inventory usage. As part of your plan, you must make plan adequately for inventory. Documentation is commonly overlooked, I said it before, and the only time it seems to be needed is when things go wrong. When we don't document our inventory, it becomes a problem. Documentation enables a facility manager, one, know which item is available in store. A facility manager should be able to know the item that is available in store, know when to restock. That is, you set a buffer level, and when it gets to that level, oh, you say for this fan belt, once we have 100 in stock, we need to restock. Once ever I get to the 100, we need to restock. You know, that is how to plan. Because you know, when it is 100 and you start writing for approval can take you another 1 week, depending on the organization and how they disperse fund. Then you still have some things to work with until approval comes. But if you wait till you deplete your consumable before you request, then you're going to put yourself in a big problem. Okay? No items which are frequently or infrequently used. As a maintenance person, you must know items that are frequently used. To manage a particular, if you are managing, say, a building, office premises, you know that one thing that you really need are the plumbing consumables, because of the frequency of, you know, how that place is being used. So you begin to look at, oh, what are the items that are frequently used? What are the items that are frequently changed? So you quickly make order for that. Inventory reporting. This is used to report inventory levels and movements in FM store. So you have a reporting system that reports the inventory levels and how the inventory, that's movements in the FM stores, who collected what. The three categories of inventory reports are inventory status reports, which review the status of the inventory by location and time period. Inventory analysis reports reviews the profitability, turnover, and demand for the inventory. So when you are analyzing inventory reports, you want to see how profitable you are using it. You are using this item. You want to see how profitable, what is the turnover, because at the end of the day, you are looking at the bottom line. Management is looking at the bottom line. Everybody want to see how profitable, you have been able to manage that facility. So from the inventory, what came in, what we have used, and all that, what is the profit we are making? Then the last one there is inventory integrity reports. This reviews discrepancies between item information and accounting information. Very important. As a facilities manager, you should be able to manage this area. I remember managing a facility, and for some reason we didn't have a store, and I have to go out to buy items, and while buying this item, I was documenting the receipts, and my boss just came from sensing that there was some issues in the facility, and said, okay, let me see all your receipts. And I gave him all the receipts, and the man started calling the people I got those items from, just to verify the amount, because the client is saying that we are spending so much on certain items. That certain items are too expensive. So management can go to that level that they will go down to, the level of going to verify those things. So it is important there are no discrepancies between the information that you are giving and the accounting information. All right. So I think we've come to the end of this training today, and you have your assessment question. So we have been able to look at maintenance planning. It's a structured program. It's not something you just do anyhow. It's something you sit following this slide, following the material you have. You can put down a well-structured maintenance plan that can guide you in maintaining your asset or your facility effectively. Putting down all the necessary reports, putting down all the necessary record, taking into consideration the necessary inventory, and knowing, getting a result from your facility condition assessment and your facility condition index to be able to advise management whether to change, whether to replace, whether to repair a particular asset. So I'm going to take a few questions so that I can allow you to go through the slide and answer the questions. And submit. Somebody's hand is up. Theophilus Alabi. So
good evening, sir.
Yeah, good evening.
Well done for the presentation.
Yeah.
Question is on the budget or on a particular asset that you said you need for.
Hello, Theophilus.
And to spend all the that if the return need become an issue. And somebody who asked in one of our lecture that instead of returning it, that you should use it for another maybe applicated area. So is it a crime to?
No, it is not necessarily a crime, but it puts your competence as a facilities manager to question. Like I said,
is it not in terms of managing?
He said,
is it not in terms of you are managing, you manage the resources?
Yes, you can manage resources, because this is a planned maintenance. If you are doing the other strategy of maintenance where you say, okay, because of our history last year of unplanned jobs, we can say we are envisaging spending so amount. We spent 10 million last year. We are envisaging spending 15 million this year on unplanned maintenance. Is reasonable. But because this is a planned maintenance, you want to maintain this particular asset. You know every activity that is going to be that you are going to consider during that maintenance. You have outlined them. Change filter, change oil. You know the cost of oil. You understand? You know the cost of filter. You know the cost you pay to the labor. So everything is planned. So it is at the planning stage that you save costs because you are dealing with actual cost. But when you now, maybe at the end of maintenance, at the end of that year, you now say, oh, I've saved 1 million naira for the company. And you were the person that made that plan at the onset. And you said, we are going to spend so thing. We are going to spend this. We are going to spend that. This is not unplanned. This is a planned maintenance. So it puts your competence to question. I don't know if you understand what I'm saying. It's easy for you to, it's simple. You want to maintain a particular thing. You know the items you need to buy, and you tell them we are going to spend so amount. So because that's the mistake we make, you know, we just give estimated, oh, this thing, how much are they selling it? Oh, it's 10,000. Okay, let's put 20,000 there. No, you don't do that. Because this is a planned maintenance. So your cost savings ability starts when you are planning. It's at the planning stage. It is at the planning stage and not in the implementation stage. And yes, I'm not saying that if you have any other means to cut costs, you shouldn't cut costs. Yes, you can cut costs, cut down costs, but I can assure you that when you are doing preventive maintenance and you do your plan very well and you do your budgeting very well, you may not have that cost-cutting advantage. I don't know if you understand what I'm saying. All right, I can see another hand. Abdul Samuel. Abdul
Good evening.
Good evening. That name just, are you Abdul and Samuel?
Yes.
Oh, that's good. All right, go ahead.
My question is, when you have assets like elevator, like a lift,
okay,
how do you schedule a plan? Usually, we outsource it. I don't do any follow up or any what's it called, check or balance. I just hope that they do the right thing because I don't know much about it. So if you can help us with a chart or a kind of assessment that we can see to use as a guide in order to checkmate such kind of assets, so you know what they're actually servicing or repairing or going through, it will actually help us a lot. Thank you.
Good. So you see,
you can share, please.
All right, I'll look into that. But what I can say is that for lifts, those are specialized facility, you know. So one thing you need to first get to know is the manual to that lift.
I don't have the manual. Even the people who own the building, they don't have it.
They don't. I want to tell you that there's a particular lift in VI that a friend, a facility manager, that's my friend, they are servicing that lift. The only person that is servicing the lift is the person that it was part of the installation. He was servicing, it was part of the company that came to install it, so they gave it to him to be servicing. But for some reason, somehow they had some disagreement in the contract and the guy left. That lift is suffering today because those are specialized facility and you need specialized people to handle them. But that being said, I'm going to ask questions, you know, I'm going to talk to people and see how that can be done. But one thing is that lift involves moving parts. It has consumable, it has like the car, the belts, the car belt, and other parts of the lift, you know. So those are areas that people that come to do maintenance, they check, especially the car belts, so that it won't fail. You know, they have a way of checking it. So that's why you must put it on routine maintenance, so that you'll be checking it at interval, maybe monthly, so that it won't fail, because they're critical equipment. But I'm going to ask questions, and if I get something that is, you know, that can meet that need, I'll reach out to you. Okay.
Thank you. I'll be waiting, please. If you can give us a kind of highlight or guide or Excel sheet that we can use to monitor such activities. Thank you, sir.
All right. Then I thought I saw a hand up. I saw somebody's hand. You dropped your hand. Salami, Aminat, are you there?
Yes, sir.
Okay, I thought I saw your hand up.
No.
Okay. Okay, that's all right. At this point, we will draw the curtain, and I will always tell the students, please take time to go through the slides, take time to do your assessment. I want to assure you that by the time you finish this course, you'll be loaded with information to succeed as a facilities manager. You know, especially for those of us that we are not technically inclined, you need to pay attention in the class and grab as much as you can, because facilities management is all about managing resources, pulling out all the resources, managing it to get your results. So thank you very much. Maybe some other time we'll meet again for another topic.
Excuse me, sir. Excuse me, sir. There are some
All
questions
right.
in the chat box.
Question in this chat box. Okay, let me see. Okay. Let me quickly go through that. Please, sir, you did not explain mean time between failures. Okay. Yeah, mean time between failures is, you know, the frequency when you have failure of a particular asset. So when you have the failure today and tomorrow you are still having failure on that asset, at the end of the day, you want to count how many times that kind of failure, that asset failed, and you now check, you know, the mean time, the shortest. So it helps you to know that the condition of that asset. It helps you to take decision about that asset. It helps you to know, okay, the kind of maintenance you put in place. And it helps you to know whether to outrightly replace that asset. I said something before that about condition, facility condition assessment and facility condition index. When the cost of repairing a facility is as high as the cost of replacing that facility, when you do that mathematics, that is, you divide the first cost over the cost of getting a new asset. If it is tending to 1, just know that you need to change that facility. So meantime is that, you know, the time, the failure in between, the interval of failure you record for a particular facility. Okay, let me see the next question. So is upgrading and demolition, part of maintenance plan. Upgrading, no, upgrading is as part of a decision. You know, I said something about capital investment. It is when you go through the facilities management, when you go through the facility, the maintenance steps in the steps in maintaining a particular facility, starting from your condition assessment, you know, you get to the point where you can say, no, this facility we need to upgrade. So it is an output of a well-planned facilities management, facility maintenance plan. So what I was trying to say is that it's a capital investment. It helps upgrading, demolition is a decision you take when you put in place a good maintenance plan. My contribution for lift maintenance is that here at our own place, the lift is maintained by the OEM. Example for Otis, these are the manufacturers, or the list, yes, so okay. For like I said, lift is a critical equipment, and you need the SME to deal with it, subject matter experts to deal with things like that. So the only thing you can do in that area is to ensure that you manage your costs. But again, it's also good to know what activity is being done, you know. Okay. The long one. Okay. I think I've addressed some of the questions there. And then, like I told you in the last class, if you have any question or anything you want clarification, then you can reach out to a training manager. You can always get across to me and I can pass it on to you. So thank you, everyone. Thank you for this class. Thank you for the opportunity to go through this lecture, this module with you. And I wish you the very, very best of luck and success in your exam. Good night.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Good night. Night. Yeah.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah.